Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
Come on, why not?
People might misunderstand what we're trying to say, you know?
No, but it's a part of life. Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of Keep It 100. I am joined with the infamous Terell.
Hi.
Hope you guys love the decor. It's semi-rainbow. It's so lovely to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
It's fine. So today we're going to be talking about everything really.
Yeah.
Sexuality, BKCHAT, because this is based off the back of the episode that just came out.
Right.
Which was super intense.
It was really
but
awkward though.
Quite informative. I think a lot of people it had a different reaction to what I expected.
I agree.
How are you feeling after that? Like,
I feel relieved, to be honest, that it happened, because I think even though I kind of expressed myself in a very emotional way, I feel like the points I wanted to make were delivered and I got my point across, so I'm not mad.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
I see myself in a very masculine way as far as my energy and just who I am as a person. I've never been afraid of exploring both my feminine and masculine energies, because I feel like it's an energy that anyone can explore, whether you solidified in your biological sex or not.
Okay.
I see myself as someone who wants to, start taking testosterone, so I have deeper voice and like maybe facial, whatever happens with that. I also would like to get like top surgery, where they basically remove your chest, like the thing, all that, yeah. But then there is that kind of big one that everyone seems to love to talk about so much, the bottom surgery,
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, when I tell them that I'm trans, the first thing they want to know about is, are you going to have a dick? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, to say that, a man is a man just based off of the fact that he has a penis is so what about people who like get like, I don't know, there's people who've had like, I think it's called like vasectomies, when they have like a testy removed because of whatever else. Are they still classed as a man? Because a lot of people's visions on what a man is solely based on their genitalia, it seems. And on the fact that they have muscle, or the fact that they're a provider, or like a breadwinner, all these like kind of generic stereotypes. But I know a lot of people who...
I don't think you can compare vasectomy.
Not
'cause that's
vasectomy,
just
because what I'm saying is that they're basing their ideals of what they think a man is on their genitalia. So is someone less of a man now because they've had something taken away from them on the, whatever the circumstances is? Are they still classed as a man? Like, is it still manly? Because there's a whole concept of, a man's supposed to be a provider, he's supposed to be the strong one, the protector.
So what is being a man to you then?
Being a man to me is just like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of just, I don't know how to explain it.
This isn't like an attack.
No,
This is just generally because this is where there is a bit of a brick wall.
It's very difficult for me to explain it, because I just feel it. Like, it's kind of, for me, I just feel like being a man to me is so much more than just the physical. There's a lot of emotional, like spiritual, and like just general roundness that completes that whole complex energy of masculinity. And the same with femininity. And I think for me, like, I've always seen myself as like one of the lads, as it was. Like, I used to hang out with boys all the time. I used to play like football. I did a lot of generic kind of like manly things growing up. But then on the flip side, I was doing ballet. I was like modeling for a little bit. Like, I was doing all different types of things. So like, because I grew up with the idea of me being androgynous, I never really thought about what it means to be that. And for most trans men that go through their transition, some decide that they want to be like and seem and come and pass as, like a biological man. They do want to go through that whole process and they do want to be that. But for some of us who don't necessarily feel like that whole thing is necessary, and that's why I say like the whole experience, it fluctuates. There's so many variables, because me personally, I don't want to have bottom surgery because, well, one, I feel like it's really risky for me, and two, like I do feel comfortable with my genitalia, so I don't feel like I need to. But I think as far as me feeling comfortable in myself, I guess these are some of the necessary things I have to go through.
That's where like my opinion on like what gender and sexuality is like, naming it is hard, because you saying that you want to keep your current genitalia means that you're comfortable in that's. I'm trying to find the best way to say this, but like that's more of an energy than like wanting to be a man. Does that make sense? Because for a lot of people in their head, like being transgender or transition is going from one to the other.
But I've never ever claimed that.
I know you're not the only one that feels that way either. There's many people.
There's many people that I know that do this. But the thing is, one thing I always make clear with people, especially when I'm speaking on this, is that I'm not on a mission to become a man. I'm not on a mission to become. I'm just on a mission to be my true self. And my true self is someone who doesn't really care for the tick boxes of what it is I need to be to show that I'm a man. Like, I feel comfortable in my emotions. I feel comfortable with my masculine and feminine energies, but I also feel like the journey of gender expression is something where you're learning something new about yourself every day. And the beauty of the whole thing for me is that I feel like, as far as I'm concerned, the word trans to me means be authentic to who you are. And if you feel like personally within yourself that who you see in the mirror does not fully represent you, you have that right now to be able to go through that process. But I guess some people have their views of what a man is. So when they see someone like me come about and say, I want to transition, I want to do X, Y, and Z, but I don't want to do anything down there, that's where the confusion kind of starts, because they're seeing me as somebody who is confused or they don't know what they're doing and stuff like that. So
yeah,
I understand, but for me, I kind of just, I've been a very kind of like my body, my rules kind of person, but I'm also open to kind of like discuss it with people. But I feel like you have to, with these type of discussions, you have to have there has to be a level of maturity, and there has to be a level of just an understanding of just like human experience, and understand that all human experiences are different, and not every man that we see walking down the street is the same, but some of them might identify as men, or you see different men. Some men are short, some men are tall, some are muscly, some are not, but that doesn't make them any less of a man or more of a man. But with all the imageries that you're kind of throwing in your face of what a man should be, it makes it all borderline impossible. Like, men are allowed to have emotions, men are allowed to do this, men can't do that, men are not supposed to be these kind of like...
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
Having a discussion earlier, you have people, like girls in your class at school that might be very tomboyish, but are straight. They are heterosexual people, but you get kind of put in this box of, oh, you're going to be a lesbian when you're older, or because you do this, then you...
Now people that told me I was going to be a lesbian when I'm older is actually ridiculous.
And then it's almost like conditioned into the brain. You start to like believe a certain thing, and then it does come across as confusion for those outside, because it's something that you've been told or something that you've felt. You just genuinely want to express yourself how you want to express yourself.
The only reason why I personally say that I identify as trans, because that whole umbrella of trans, and even for myself, I identify as a queer person. Like, those two words to me, for me, it's an umbrella term for those who feel like they don't necessarily identify with the binaries of masculinity and femininity. Like, they feel comfortable to fluctuate between that, and that kind of comfortability, anybody can have that. Not just trans people, but people who are cisgender, whoever. Anybody can have that comfortability.
Do you feel pressure to feel like you have to say that's what it,
I feel like there is a pressure, because still, even within the trans community, there are people who care about passing, who care about being able to walk into the men's toilet and no one clock them. Like, I don't give a fuck which toilet I'm going to. I need to take a piss at the end of the day. But there are times when I've gone into a men's toilet and no one's clocked me. I've gone into a women's toilet and no one's clocked me. So most of the time, I would probably end up going into like the disabled toilet, or like if they have a gender neutral toilet, because it's just a safer option. But I feel like for a lot of trans men, passing is for some of them, passing is like a big yes, because it's just, we want to be able to make it through the straight world and be able to just not be questioned by some things like that. So people do things like train their voices to be deeper, wear more masculine clothes,
exactly,
all that stuff. Whereas me, I feel comfortable in myself, because there's layers to what a man is, there's layers to what a woman is, but all these different labels mean fuck all to me. Like, that's why I say trans, because I guess, unfortunately, we, like what you saying in the episode, unfortunately, like we were saying, like, you identify with freedom, but still we have to use these labels to categorize ourselves, because we still live in a categorized society.
Yo, I don't think we should talk about this.
What do you think about inclusivity within the LGBTQI+ community? Because it sounds to me like there is a major amount of segregation even within the trans community.
Just the sheer fact that we have a Black Pride just goes to show. Because I think it's beautiful that we have Black Pride. I think it's beautiful that we celebrate, people of colour in the community. But the real reason, one of the main reasons why that even came about, was because a lot of people who were going to the main prides were experiencing racism, were experiencing uninclusive energies that where people are saying, well, you can't be here because you can't do this, you can't do that. At the end of the day, like, no one's going to sit here and really tell you that the LGBTQ community is all kumbaya, we're all holding hands, running up the hills together. Like, no. Because before I'm gay, before I'm trans or anything, I'm a person of colour. And then there's people I know who identify as cis, like, gay white males, but they're still a white man. So there's still going to be that, like, blockade between them, because there's other things like racism, there's other things like white privilege and all these different things that people like to talk about, stuff like that. Me personally, I don't give a shit. But there's been moments when I've gone out into spaces where I've been attacked by, like, cisgendered white gay men, and they're like, oh,
attacked?
Yeah. So for example, like, me and my partner went out for drinks. It's not out of the ordinary to, like, go to a gay bar, get wasted, run into the toilets, have a snog, come out, go back and dance. It's normal. It's
I know someone who knows about that life. Shout out you know who you are. Yeah, go on.
After we walked out of the toilet, there was a guy there in the queue getting pissed off because apparently it was taking too long, even though he was standing in a fucking cubicle. No one else in the queue was making noise, but he decided to make noise. And he went as far as throwing drinks in both of our faces. He started making jokes about my genitalia, started, like, really egging me on, like, really taking the piss. My partner, who's a very calm, quiet, reserved person, was, like, genuinely shaken by it. Me, I was rattled. They ended up banning me because they just saw the CCTV and just assumed that I was the aggressor. So that energy in itself,
Wow.
just goes to show, because he didn't give a fuck about being banned, because he could go anywhere in Soho, because Soho practically is cis white gay men, is everywhere. We don't really have a space for us. We maybe might go to Lick Event or, like, Pussy Palace if they've got something going on. Or like them, but, do you know what I mean? But then we have to kind of, it's like a monthly thing rather than I would love to be able to say that, oh yeah, there's a space I know where like every week I can go
pub,
to.
a local or
do you know what I mean?
like that,
We don't have that. So there, just, you know, there's intersectionalities within my identity that will restrict me from certain things. And once we start to understand that, then maybe inclusivity might be more of a thing. But with every community, there's something.
Okay.
So.
No, thank you for sharing. Like, you represent you at the end of the day. Like, you have to be that voice for those who can't speak up or don't have the knowledge. So what are you going to do this 2020 to, like...
Well, I am a drag king. So I'm going to
plug it.
Yes, I'm a drag king. I've got a show coming up on the 7th of February. We'll send deets in the description below. I'm joking.
Why not?
I mean, not joking, like, don't ask I will. But yeah, I've been doing drag for like a year now, and it's been, like, a lot of fun. I've met some really awesome people. I'm going to be hosting my first ever drag show next month. I'm going to be doing panel talks next month. Like, there's so many different things that's going to happen this year. I'm going to be writing an article as well based on my experience of being barred and experiencing transphobia in spaces. A lot of people have been coming to me with their stories. I'm going to put it all together, you know, submit it to Gal Dem and all the amazing like queer magazines that are out there. That's just to help people make it aware that do not be screaming gay pride if you're not inclusive space. Do not be screaming gay pride if you have disrespect for people in the community who are not able-bodied, people in the community who, like, because there's even people I know that will, like, that have no, like, when I was trans pride, for example, like, there were people taking the piss out of non-binary people, there's people taking the piss out of bisexual people, like, there's just all kinds of nonsense. So
everybody gets it.
It's just a year of just, you know, we are, like, togetherness, I guess, so it's just going to be positive, yeah.
And you can just shout out your socials, like, so people know where to find you and all that great stuff.
My Instagram is _editmyfengshui_ and I can't remember my...
Edit my feng shui.
I can't remember my drag one, like, off by heart, so this plug is genuinely useless.
LOL, okay. On that note,
I'm joking.
big up yourself. Thanks for coming through.